Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am fat, I am naked, therefore this must be a naked truth. And we are naked to show that we are honest, open, and hiding absolutely nothing. And this week we have a question not from Tricia Hirschberger, who is our normal Grand Chancellor of the Naked Truth, but rather from James Wisdom, who of course is a good friend and a wonderful YouTuber. And James didn't so much ask a question, but asked us to relay our thoughts on having things versus wanting things. What we should give up to deal with, to get what we want that we already have. And this comes from his interpretation of the film Creed. Now, I have to say, if you watch the film Creed, you probably interpreted it a little different than I did. I mean, I looked at Creed and I saw a rich kid who had too much and yet still wasn't happy. And my interpretation of this film is, here you have a young man, he's never really going to have to work. He's going to get a good job so that he can have a better life, but he's never really going to have to work. He's part of a rich family, he's got a rich legacy, he's always going to be that guy. And then here it is, he goes, well, I want to go into boxing like my father, who I've never met. And what does he have to do? He has to then leave his rich life, walk away from that, and then become a boxer. Which, I mean, to me, I look at that and say, your father got his face pounded in so that you wouldn't have to go do these things. And then his wife, who is not your mother, came and brought you out of poverty so you wouldn't have to do these things. And even if you wind up being a successful boxer, it's very likely that, after being a successful boxer, you're going to have terrible disabilities. That's one of those things they don't show you in Rocky, is, whatever happened to the fact that he takes one more wrong hit to the face and he's an invalid? Whatever happened to that? That's the question. And I mean, you look at Mike Tyson, for example. He had a terrible childhood and he went into boxing because that was one way for him to get out that horrible rage, and that's how he made his money. He was poor until he became a boxer. George Foreman I know less about, but I know that he named all of his kids George Foreman because he wanted them to know his father because he never knew his. So often these boxing stars are people that grew up poor, and that's kind of the thing about sports, is you grow up poor. Contrarily, if you look at acting, that's that thing where a lot of people have family and get in that way. But there I digress. So, moving on to the basic here is what I really want to be as an author. And you might find that funny, because here I am, contributing to a really pointless YouTube channel. It's pointless, and I'm contributing to it. I mean, I know I'm never really going to get anywhere with this. I've got a couple of other channels with very sporadic content. I have two webcomics. I have Random Street Theater, the webcomic, and then I have Johnny American, which are both right now, as we speak, they're behind on posting. Johnny is almost 6 months behind, and I've written all those episodes, and I've got to now draw all those episodes and post them eventually, and then hopefully I get to the point where I'm posting regularly again. And then Random Street Theater is somewhere into last month, and eventually, probably within the next couple of weeks, I'll be back up to posting daily on that, but slow process. But what I really want to be is a writer. And that's why I did webcomics, not because I wanted to be an artist, but because I wanted to be a writer, and I get to write the comics. So what I'd really like to do is have somebody else draw them. I just want to write them, but I can't afford that, obviously. So, when we talk about giving things up, what do I have to give up to become a writer? Basically, I have to give up a lot of free time. I mean, it's a lot of hard work. I spend almost an entire week, every waking hour, sitting in front of a computer working on something. I had one weekend where my computer got a bad update from Windows and it kept shutting off, and I kept losing a scene I was working on, and I rewrote it maybe 10, 20 times. Not just because the computer died, but because it sucked, and I had to rewrite it. But remember, I had a good draft, and I lost it, and I couldn't remember what I wrote. So there was that, and, this is the thing. But when it comes to what you have versus what you want, a good thing to work on, the principle you want to work on, if you can, is what I refer to as Pratchetts' axiom. Okay, and an axiom is basically a statement of truth. You know, you have Pratchetts' axiom, and who Pratchett is? Terry Pratchett. He's an English well, I don't know if he was born in England or not. I think for a while he lived in America, but he's one of the most published authors in the English-speaking world. And Pratchett is bigger in England than America, but he's still very much loved in the written community. He's passed away now. And the thing about Terry Pratchett is that he was a fellow who always made a living through writing. He used to be some kind of a journalist, and at a certain point he began writing novels. And he made so much money off of his novels that he realized one day going to work was costing him money. So taking a break from his novels was costing him money to go work on whatever it was. So it's like me as a security officer. What I do is security, of course, and what I'm always going to be trying to do, because that's what my degree is in, is psychology. So I'm always going to be trying to get that job in the world of psychology, probably with counseling children or working with the mentally disabled, or something of that nature. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But the day that costs me money is the day that I stop doing it. The day that I am so successful in whatever it is I want to do, that I have what I have to do, is when I start doing it. And the thing about this that is very interesting is, of course, I don't think an actor can do that. I have a night job as a security officer. I get to bring a lot of my work as an author to work. It's one of those things, like tonight I plan to watch a film, to review on YouTube tonight at work. I plan to do other things tonight at work before coming home and working on them further. I'm trying to get to the point where my life is just this well-oiled machine where I go to work and it's practically like being at home. I do almost exactly what I want to do, sans the internet. So with me, that's not a lot of giving up. But for people who, for example, want to be actors, in America, if you want to be an actor, there are pretty much three main ways to get in. Either one, move to Los Angeles and be part of that acting scene. Two, move to New York and be part of that acting scene. Or three, get a bunch of people together and film your own project. And you can do that in Alaska. In fact, it might be better to do it in Alaska because you've got a lot of wide open space and not a lot of regulation. So you could do whatever you want there. A bunch of guys lost in the wilderness, that could be your thing in Alaska. So that's where Pratchett's axiom kind of breaks down. But it's like, here is the thing about this kid who was a boxer. He's not giving up anything to be a boxer. It's like, you've got this good job. Yeah, you can always set up a good job when you're rich. Being rich does that to you. Having connections, having been able to afford a prestigious education, it always does that for you. Spending some time in a boxing ring doesn't change that unless you have a bad brain injury. Okay, so there's the thing. There's no Pratchett's axiom for rich people. Bill Gates could turn around tomorrow and say, yeah, I'm going to be an author. I'm Bill Gates. I can do whatever I want. I can be an actor. I'm Bill Gates. I can do whatever. He could go and become the best paid movie star in the world. He's going to have a film that's going to be him sleeping, and he'll start Gates Production Company, and he'll pay himself $1 billion to sit there and sleep for an hour. He could do that. The highest paid actor in the world. The money breaks all boundaries. That's one of those things you have to understand. So, yeah, but there's the concept of have versus want. James, you have a job, you have a career. If you're going to, for example, move to Canada, which is something James mentioned, if you're going to move to Canada, obviously before you move to Canada, you start looking into getting jobs over in Canada. You're not going to just, but now here I am in Canada, and I've got my bag, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I've got no place to sleep. No, you're going to look for a job first. You're going to send in inquiries. You're going to talk to people. And nowadays we can do that. You can Skype an interview. It's really great. And as far as you want to put content online, well, just do that. Just do that. It's not a big deal. do as much of it as you can recreationally until you get to the point where it's it's going to put money into it. But I might put out the point here, James, that you can go and get a Google AdSense. All you need is a your YouTube account should already have the email. I think you need to give them your bank account information, give Google AdSense that information so they can pay you, and then that's it. Put ads on your videos so that you can at least start that process, because when you get to the point where you're getting 10,000 views a video, that means that video where you got 9,000 views, you didn't get paid for that. So that's kind of where I stand. In any case, I look forward to hearing some responses from this video. Happy New Year to all the people that are watching this around New Year's, and just remember, never give up on your dreams. Just don't drown for them. That's my 50 cents on the matter. Somebody else's 50 cents, you got $1. I'm Richard.